Teachers, what is the scariest thing you have ever seen a student do? As a grade 4 teacher, I announced my pregnancy to my class when I was about 4 months along. The majority of the students were thrilled, but there was one child who made it his goal to harm my baby. He repeatedly kicked a soccer ball at my belly, attempted to trip me, and even made cutting motions with scissors while saying, "Let's meet this baby." Due to my growing anxiety about the situation, I ended up taking leave earlier than planned. It was a very strange experience, and when I returned the following year, I learned that the student had transferred to a different school. After reading through several comments, this seems to be one of the most unsettling experiences shared. It's strange to hear about a child acting in such a way towards a pregnant teacher. One incident that was frightening, but not in an evil way, involved a student at the elementary school where my dad was the principal. There was a young girl in one of the lower grades who would randomly fall asleep in class and wouldn't wake up, no matter what her teacher, my dad, or the paramedics called by my dad tried to do. This happened randomly and caused a lot of distress and fear for her teacher, my dad, and her parents. Tragically, she eventually passed away in her sleep at home. Damn, it's shocking to hear that this little girl would fall asleep during class and couldn't be awakened no matter what. As a student teacher, I was on a 3-week placement in a school, and I encountered something that was frightening. A 3rd grade student had a notebook filled from front to back with only a repeated sequence of the words stop, bad, don't, dirt, and sad. It was extremely unsettling to see. This is very concerning. If a student is repeating phrases like stop, bad, don't, dirt, and sad over and over again in a notebook, it could be a sign that they're experiencing abuse or trying to express their emotions. This is a clear indication that something is wrong, and it's important to take this kind of behavior seriously. I wasn't a teacher, but I was in a class with a student who was frightening. This person sat behind me in one of my classes during my junior year of high school. To make a long story short, he was absent at the start of our senior year because he was in prison for murder. At the time, I was quite naive and didn't realize how creepy he was, but others in the class did, which is why he was socially isolated. Kindergarten teacher here. I had a student who displayed unsettling control over adults. He was particularly skilled at manipulating adults, but not so much with his peers or other children. The school district psychologist observed the student's interactions with his mother and her boyfriend a few times, and the results were alarming. The psychologist reported that the student had an unusual amount of control over his parents, almost as if he was a miniature psychopath. The student had slowly collected over 200 stolen knives and sharp objects, as well as a gun with mismatched bullets, which he kept hidden under his box spring mattress. He had also created a picture book detailing his plans to kill his mother and her boyfriend, which depicted scenarios in which she had said no to him. According to the psychologist, this was only the 2nd time in his 27-year career that he had encountered a genuinely psychotic child. As a legal professional, I once had a client who was a violent sociopath. Unfortunately, I cannot share the details of the case, but I will say that it was the only one that has ever left a lasting impact on me. The situation was so disturbing that the parents had to lock the child in their room at night to prevent them from hurting others. I was not a teacher, but when I was in middle school in the 1980s, I had a friend who was frightening. He was around 10 years old at the time. During one of the breaks, he whispered to me that he wanted to show me something and asked me to come to his desk. When I arrived, he looked around to make sure that no one else was around, and then pulled out a hand grenade from his backpack. This was definitely one of the scariest moments of my life. Wow, I didn't expect to hear something like that. I had a similar experience during my middle school years too. As a teacher, I had a student who was only 5 years old. They told me that their parents were in the business of making mulch and wanted to bring it in to show me. The following day, the student walked into the class with a bag, but it wasn't filled with mulch as he had said, but with marijuana instead. This situation was not scary, but it was concerning and unexpected. Cool, did you at least get to keep some of it? I thought about it, but I didn't. A few years ago, a kindergartner student of mine committed a violent crime by stabbing their teacher with a pair of scissors. Despite the severity of the situation, the school district only placed the student on an educational plan and left them in the classroom. For the next 6 months, the student caused terror among their classmates, until they were finally removed from the school. In my opinion, the school should have taken stronger action and removed the student immediately after they deliberately hurt someone. That's frightening. It's concerning that the child thought using a scissors was an appropriate solution to a problem. I once had a student who destroyed the artwork of several other students, climbed on a table, and hurled the pieces at their faces while shouting, "I'm the best, I'm the nicest, I'm the greatest," then laughed maniacally throughout the class. Sounds like this kid has got some serious skills. Maybe he should be a champion in League of Legends, tossing around artwork instead of in-game weapons. I once taught a student who was suspected to be a psychopath or sociopath. Despite being regarded as super cute and having a great smile by other staff, this student was disturbingly good at manipulating and controlling large groups of kids. I noticed that he would move his group away from the supervision of staff and would always be the one orchestrating their misbehavior. One day, when I tried to intervene, he confronted me and told me to leave. The way he switched from a friendly demeanor to a cold and emotionless expression was extremely frightening.